Welcome once again to the channel. Now, once again, today we are looking at science. Today we are on science, and we are looking at materials. This is for the first year, the freshest. Once again, we are looking at what? Materials. Now, we talk of materials. I hope you have seen so many materials. So many materials. You've seen a lot. Now, the substance that make up object, the objects we use in life, the object, the pen you are writing with, the phone you are watching this with, they are all objects. The things that were made up of that material, that phone you have, is called a material. Basically, that is what? That is matter. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Good. So if we say material, material is the substance that make up what? Objects. Any object at all is made up of certain things, certain substance. So those substances, we refer to them as what? As materials. Now, this material, so we're looking at what? Materials, which will connect it to what? To matter. We'll connect this to matter. So we have materials. And we are saying that a material is the makeup of what? Of objects. The substances that make up objects is referred to as what? Materials. So what are materials? Materials are substances that make, very important, that make up objects. They are substances that make up objects. Any object at all you have in this world is made up of what? Of materials. Now, these substances can be referred to as what? As matter. And that's where our topic will be leading to. These substances are what? Are matter. The building blocks of most things. You get the point I'm making here? Good. So we are saying that when you're asked to define a material, it's a substance. Materials are, but this is in the singular form, it's a substance that make up what? Objects. I said materials can either be what? Pure, they can be impure, they can be living or what? Non-living. Materials can be pure, they can be pure, they can be impure, they can be living or non-living or non-living. So living yourself, your material, because we are made up of what? Of things. You get the point I'm making here? Good. So I said this is a material, the phone, the pen is a material, the dress you are wearing is also what? It's also a material. Now, materials are classified on the basis of what? Of their physical and chemical properties. So classification of material is based on certain things. We can classify them based on one. So my basics, the basis for material, classification. When we say classification, that means we are sorting them out. We are putting them into classes based on certain properties and things they have. That is why you are in a particular class now. That is why you are moving from a particular class here. We put you into classes based on certain things. You get the point I'm making here? Same as material, because we have a lot of material. We have grouped them, we have classified them. But we do the classification based on certain things. We don't just put all of them. No, we'll get confused. If all of us should enter the school and there are no classrooms, tell me, we'll get confused. So we put the classes to differentiate, to sort them. And we sort the materials based on what? Their physical and chemical properties. Their physical and chemical properties. 2, their geological origin. Their geological origin. When we say geological origin, that means where those materials can be found. Where is it found? Is it found on Earth? Geology means their location on Earth where it can be found. Then we have their biological function. So these are the 3 things. Their biological function. So these are the basis for grouping what? Materials. So we have materials that will fall under this. We have materials that will fall under geological. We have materials that will fall under what? Under biological. Like the way when you go to your school, it has been grouped into class. We have the nursery, we have the KGs, based on the level of your thinking and how fast you can understand things. That is why some people can be jumped 2 classes. From class 1 is jumped straight to class 1 or 3, because we see that this person has that capacity to be in a particular class. So if you are asked to give the basis for material classification, there are 3 of them. We said materials, in their nature, we can have pure. So this is the nature of the material. The nature, the substance that make up what? That make up objects. It can be pure, it can be impure, it can be living or non-living. But when we are putting them in class because they are a lot, then we can look at what physical property do you have? What is your geological origin, and what's your biological function? With this, we can now sort them or put them into classes. I hope you get the point I'm making here. Good. Now, scientists who study these objects or the properties and their applications are called the material scientists. But the study of these things, the substances that make up objects, some scientists have dedicated themselves to do that. And we call that material science. If you learn material science, what you can do here is that you can design materials for making so many things. You can use the wood, or you can put the wood to make something nice. You can use the plastic. You can use anything at all, because you do material, so you understand what they are, right? So the science that studies materials, their properties, and their application is referred to as material science. So if you want to do material science in the future, then this is what you are going to focus on. You are going to focus on what? On the materials properties and how to use them. So you focus on the materials or properties and their applications. So material science deals with the properties and applications of the material. So that if I'm able to say that and you want to build something, I can tell the proper material for doing that. That is why our dresses, most of them are not made of plastic. And you get the point I'm going. When they're made of plastic or rubber, we will not feel comfortable. You get the point I'm making? When it's raining, we understand that because water cannot pass through that material. So once we get the properties of the material, we know how to apply them. So keep in your head, material science is one of the branches of science, and that deals with what? The properties and applications of what? Of material, or the study of materials, their properties, and their what? Their applications. Good. So that is basically about materials. And you've all seen materials before. And like I said, that material will lead us to something called matter. So today we are going to look at matter. Matter is very important. It is the basis for science once again. Science, you need to understand matter. And matter is a very nice and interesting topic. So we look at matter. Now, I hope as of now, everybody can define matter, but to explain what they have defined at times becomes challenging. What do we say matter is? Well, anything at all. Remember that material is matter, and we say it can be pure, impure, living or non-living, right? So anything at all that has mass and volume. So let me define matter here. Matter is anything. So matter is anything at all, anything with mass and volume. Anything with mass and volume is referred to as what? As matter. These are the two things we are looking at. For you to be classified, for you to be matter, you need two things. You need to have mass, and you need to also have what? Volume. Somebody asked, then what then is the mass? What then is the mass, and what then is the volume? Now, the space you occupy is called what? Volume. So others will define matter as anything that has mass and occupies what? Space. Once you can occupy space, so volume is the space occupied by matter. The space occupied by matter is referred to as what? As its volume. So I have an object, and I put the object, and it occupies a space. That object is what? Is matter. Then what of the mass? The mass is the things in you. You get the point I'm making here. So the substance that are in you to form you is called your what? Your mass. The more the substance, the more your what? Mass. Don't confuse mass with what? Weight. There are two different things. Mass is the objects that are in you, or the small things in you are what? Are the mass. So we can say in simple terms, mass is the amount of matter in you. Amount of those small things in you is what we call what? Mass. I hope you get the point I'm making. So matter is anything that has mass. What is mass? The things in that object we are looking at, the things in matter, the substances in matter is referred to as what? Mass. So mass is basically the matter content. The matter content of an object. When I say content, the thing it contains. So I take a wood. The amount of what? Of matter, the small things in the wood will give the mass. The more of that, the more of what? Of the mass. So once you have these two, you are qualified to be what? To be matter, right? Good. So I said matter is anything that has mass and volume. The space occupied by matter is the volume, and the amount of matter it contains is its what? Mass. The amount of small things in it is the mass. Examples of matter, we have a lot. We can mention some of them. What do we have? We have books. Books are matter. We have water, oxygen, etc. A lot. Anything at all around you. Remember the underlining word here as well. It's anything. So when you give an example, ask myself, does that thing have mass? If it has mass, it has checked the first box. Does it occupy a space? It checked the second box, and that can be considered as well as matter. You get the point? And we live in a world of matter. So anything you see around you is matter. Your pen is matter. The one you're picking the note with right now is what? It's matter. Once again, the note will be loaded on www.mactclass.com so that you can go and get them and read them. You will get the point I'm making here. Good. So now let's be a little bit curious. Let's open and see what is inside the matter. How we get the point I'm making here? We've said that matter is made up of small, whatever. Now let's open it. Let's open it up and see what is inside matter. And that we will call what? The particulate nature of matter, or the particles of what? Of matter. So we are going to look at the particulate nature of matter, or the particles of what? Of matter. Matter is made up of small particles. Very small. Very small. You can't see them with your naked eyes unless you aid them with what? With a microscope. So note that matter. So we are looking at particles of matter. Matter is made up of particles. Particles of matter. And I want to call that the particulate nature of what? Of matter. The particulate nature of what? Of matter. And the particulate nature of matter states that the particulate nature of matter. Let me write that. The particulate nature of matter. The particulate nature of matter. Let's change the marker. Nature of matter. It states that, so when I have to state the particulate nature of matter, the particulate nature of matter states that matter is made up of smaller particles, and these particles are atoms. From atoms we make molecules, and from atoms we make what? Ions, right? One day we'll speak about more about what? The atoms. Good. So the particulate nature of matter states that matter is made up of particles, right? Made up of what? Of particles. And what are the particles? So matter is made up of particles. Particulate nature. Matter is made up of what? Particles. And the particles, we have three of them. We have atoms. You can see after me, we have what? Atoms. Then we have ions. We have, let me say, we have molecules. Molecule. That is what? Molecule. So molecules. Then we also have ions or ions. Some people call ions, but these are ions, right? This is different from the ion used in your house. These are ions in science. So you take note of the spellings. So these are the three particles of what? Of matter. They are different from the states of matter. We will come to the state of matter, but we are looking at the what? At the particles of matter now. Hope you get the point I'm making here. Very well. Very important. So matter is made up of particles, and the particles are what? Atoms, molecules, and what? Ions. If I ask you state the particulate nature of matter, the particulate nature of matter states that matter is made up of what? Particles. What are the three particles that make up matter? We have atoms, we have molecules, and we have what? We have ions. Very simple. Now let's look at what an atom is, what a molecule is, and what an ion is. Let's look at these three. Now, when we say atoms, in fact, atoms were first of all spoken about by a man called Democritus, right? When we say atoms, they are the building blocks of matter. Let's put it that way. They are the building blocks. Before you can get matter, you need to get what? Atoms, right? But before we even explain it, I want to move your attention to these guys called elements. This guy called elements. Because it is this matter, these atoms are the smallest particles of this. For you to understand what I'm saying, I just want to introduce what these guys called elements. Because elements are the what? Are just atoms together. When atoms comes together, it forms what? It forms the elements. You get the point I'm making there. And from there we can pick it as well as matter. We need these elements badly because that's what is going to form our base in what? Our building in chemistry. What we are doing right now is the chemistry aspect of what? Of science. I hope you get the point I'm making here. Good. So atoms are the smallest particle of elements that do take part in what? In a chemical reaction. Atoms are remember I told you that the smallest particles here as well are atoms, the smallest. When you break down any substance, when you break it down, the smallest part you are going to take is what? Is the atom. But before you get the atom, you need what? The elements, right? You get the point I'm making here. So when I take this and I want to break this thing down, when I break it down, I'll get to a point where I'll meet the elements that were used in making this before I go to the atom. That's why I want to define atom by linking it to what? To elements. I hope you get the point I'm making here. I hope you get so the elements are the last but one, and these ones are the last one. When you are breaking down matter, you meet you break it down. The last but one is elements. Then from elements you go to the atom because atoms means indivisible. You can't break them down. That is what it means, right? Good. So what are atoms? Atoms are the smallest particle of an element. Now let's use this simple analogy here, or simple understanding. The house you live in, see that as an element. Let's see the house as the element. Now, before we can build, we need blocks. Now, the blocks we put together to make the house or to build the house are our atoms. So atoms are the smallest particles of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. There was a time one boy said, okay, the blocks are the smallest particle of a building that can take part in building. It was so fun. That can take part in building. No. But we are looking at the atom, but just for you to be able to link this and understand what the atom. I'm using this analogy or this example that if you have a building and you break down the building, the smallest part you take is the blocks that were used in making the building, right? So if the building is an element, then the blocks become what? The atoms. So atoms are the smallest particle of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. Take note. Atoms are the smallest particles of an element that can take part in a chemical reaction. So therefore, what are these elements? Now, these elements are basically a group of atoms of the same kind. Look at the understanding here. Elements are a group of atoms of the same kind. And I say this thing makes sense because when we are building, the blocks we use should all be of the same shape. We use only rectangular blocks. We don't bring circular blocks or triangular blocks when we are doing this. So when we take an element, it should be a group of atoms of the same kind. The blocks that build the house must be of the same shape, the same kind. I hope you get a point I'm making here. Good. So that is basically what the atoms are. Now, when we put atoms together, when we group two atoms together, we get a molecule. Take note. So a molecule is what? So an example of an atom, an example of an atom is sodium atom. So sodium is an atom, right? Then we can also have oxygen. Oxygen is another atom. So take note of this. So these are atoms, right? We can also say sodium element, oxygen element. They are all the same. We can use elements and atoms interchangeably because elements are basically a group of atoms. I hope you get the point. That group of atoms of the same kind. So atoms are the smallest particle of an element. Okay. Now, when we put atoms together, when we combine atoms, we form what? We form something called a molecule. So a molecule is a group of same elements or what? Or different elements that are chemically what? Combined. Molecule is a group of what? Of same elements or different elements that are what? That are combined. So when I have an element, now the element is made up of atoms. So the group of atoms gives us what? Elements, right? Good. So when I have an element, hydrogen is one of the elements. We have about 118. We have 118 what? Elements. 94 of them of which are natural and the others are synthetic. Okay, good. One day I'll come to elements and I'll break it down for you. So I'm saying that what we have right now is that atoms are what? The molecules are a group of atoms or a combination of elements. Now I say I have hydrogen, an element, and another one, hydrogen. When I put these two hydrogens together, I'll get hydrogen molecule. So this is hydrogen molecule. But hydrogen alone, this is hydrogen what? Atom. So this is the atom, that is hydrogen molecule. That means I've combined two hydrogens, but they are the same. I can take hydrogen and add oxygen to it, and that will give me H2O. So this is another molecule. But this molecule is made up of different atoms. If you look at the definition and read it carefully, we said a molecule is a group of what? Of elements or group of same elements or different elements that are chemically what? Combined. You get the point I'm making here. So we can have same elements. So this I proved to you that this is a molecule, hydrogen is a molecule, same element, hydrogen, hydrogen. But this is water, another molecule, but different what? But different elements. I hope you get the point I'm making here. I hope you understand this. Good. So basically that is how we write. I just for balancing sake, one day we show how to do the balancing so that they can balance. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Yeah, very, very, very well. Important for you to know that. Good. Then we come to ions. Anytime you charge an atom, right? Anytime you charge an atom, you get an ion. So you can see what is happening here. It is the atom combining itself to give us the molecule, and that atom becomes charged, and we get what? Ions. So what are ions? Ions, we've defined molecules already. But what are ions? Ions are what? Charged what? Atoms. You can put it that way. They are charged what? Atoms. So I said an ion is an electrically charged atom or group of atoms that have lost or gained electrons to be what? To be stable. Ions are what? I said ions are atoms or electrically charged group of atoms or atoms that have lost or gained or electrons. When I'll go deep into ions, then you understand where they gain electrons, and so stay tuned and make sure you have subscribed, because I'm going to explain into details and you understand how the ions are even formed and why there's a need for you to form the ion. Ions are very important when it comes to chemistry, because we are going to combine these and these to combine through bonding and all that. We're going to look at all that. So you need to understand what the ions are. I hope you get the point I'm making here. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Good. So basically, what have we said so far? We have said that the particles of matter, atoms, molecule, ions. I've defined what the atoms are. I've defined what the molecules are. And I'm saying that ions are charged what? Atoms. So ions are basically what? Charged atoms. So somebody will ask me, how do we charge an atom? I explained to you, so don't worry. Just give me the definition today, and like I said, keep what being present on the page, and you get to know how these ions are, and you appreciate how science is. Science is so interesting. You appreciate it soon. So we have all these are the particles of what? Of matter. I hope you understand this. So an example is so let me use this. So this is hydrogen atom. This hydrogen atom. This hydrogen molecule. This hydrogen molecule, that is what? Molecule. Then this is hydrogen ion. Hydrogen is now charged. It's either this or we can say hydrogen ion. So either this is what is correct. So we have this hydrogen ion. I'll show you how all these things are formed. They're very simple. Show you how all those things are formed. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. I hope you get this. So you understand the atoms. If you don't go over this, and one thing you should know, once you are doing this, be able to link, when you say understanding, just matching a pattern you have to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a new information. So let's be able to match it. That's why I give an example of the house and the block. So very important. Take note of that. When we put the atoms together, we get what? A molecule. So when I have this and that and I put it together, I'll get what? A molecule. You get the point I'm making here? So like you go into an estate, you have this house and that house. Have you ever seen an estate? The houses look the same. So when you put two of them together, you can get a molecule. You get the point I'm making? And that will be the same because we said the building is the element. So if the building is the element, then one building with another building, when I put them together, you get the point? I'll get what? I'll get a molecule. So the estate in which we have 3 or 4 same houses, which are elements, when they combine, we get what? We get a molecule. You get the point I'm making? I hope you understand what I'm saying. So we put them together, get a molecule. Now, when we charge the atom, how do we charge an atom? We'll explain later. We charge an atom, then we have what? We have an ion. You get the point I'm making here? I hope you understand what I'm saying. Good. So now we look at the states of what? Of matter. States of matter. Now we are done with the particles. We're done with the particle nature. Let's move straight to the states of matter. But the state of matter will connect it. We are going to bring it from the particles. Now, the particles that make up matter, you should understand that if this is an example of matter, these atoms are all arranged here. They are arranged here. You get the point I'm making here. The atoms are arranged in it. The molecules are arranged in it. And so every atom and what is made up of. Every matter and what is made up of. A matter can be made up of atoms. We have matters made of atoms. We have other matter that are not made of atoms, but they are made of what? Molecules. We have those that are made of what? Of ions. You have to understand that. That's how you get to know here. Good. Now, the particles of matter, the particles in matter are held together by force of attraction. This is very, very key. You have to know this. This is very, very key. You'll be able to explain most of the things when you understand what I'm saying. Good. I'm saying that the particles, which is the atoms, the molecules, and the ions, are held together by force of attraction. So the particles that make up matter are held together by what? By forces. And the strength of the force determines the state of matter. We are looking at the state. When we say the states of matter, how matter looks and feels like. How is this thing? So how matter looks and feels like is the state. So state of matter basically means the looks and feel of what? The looks and feels of what? Of matter. Is what? It's what we call the state. So you fetch water. Water is matter. It occupies space. But how does it look like? And how does it feel like? You take wood, and these are all matters. And we are saying that the state or the way it looks and feels tells you what we call, or it gives you the state, the form in which it is. And this state, for you to understand the state of matter, there is this thing called the force of attraction. Force of attraction. And this force of attraction pulls objects together. So force of attraction basically will pull the atoms, the molecules, and the ions together. You get the point I'm making here? So these things, if these things are representing the atoms, if these things represent the atoms, we are saying that then this force of attraction must pull them together. The strength, how strong the force of attraction is. How strong the force of attraction is, I'm repeating again, determines the state of matter. So the state of any matter is determined by the strength of the force of attraction between the particles. Get it? So the state of matter, how it will look, how it will feel. You look at this and this one feels hard, this one feels soft, this one you can't even see. You get the point I'm making here? That is based on the what? The force of attraction holding the particles. Because if we say they are both, that means they are packed. But how are they packed? That tells us what? The state. So we are saying that the force of attraction or the strength is here in the notes. I'm uploading on the website www.mactclass.com. Then you can go, you can download it. Right? Good. So let's end it with this. So we are saying that the force of attraction between the particles will give us the state of matter. So when we have solid, let me put it this way, the strength of the force The strength of the force gives the state of matter. Keep this there because it's going to give you the ability to explain most of the reasons. So if the force is very strong, so very strong force, then the substance becomes hard and we call it a solid. So one state of matter is solid. It is solid based on the strength. So when it is weak, so weak force, we get it is what? It is liquid. So it is liquid. It's not water, it's liquid. Then if the force is negligible, so negligible force. When we say negligible, the force is so weak that we consider it not to be there. That's what I'm saying. Then we have gas. So these are the three states of matter. And I've said once again here that the states of matter depends on what? On the force of attraction between the particles that make up that matter. I can take a matter and to have atoms. I can take a matter and to have molecules. Like water has molecules. You get the point I'm making here. But the molecules are held together by what? By a weak force of attraction. That's why it's liquid. We are getting the concept here. So generally, what have we said so far? We have said that materials are basically matter, and everything matter has particles. The particles are either atoms, ions, or what? Molecules. Good. Now, these particles are held together by a force of attraction. The strength of that force of attraction tells you how the matter will look or feel, and that is referred to as what? The state of the matter. Some you see them to be solid, you see them to be liquid, and some of them are gases. Why are they solids? Because they are held together by the strong force of what? Attraction. The force of attraction here is that weak, it's very weak. Here, as if there's no force, it's so weak that it's considered to be negligible, or no force. No or negligible. But the force is very weak. You get the point I'm making here. Good. When you understand this, you understand what we call the change of state of matter. Change of state of what? Of matter. So take note of this, put all this together last time. So basically, this is our introduction to what? To matter. When we meet again here, we are going to look at what? We are going to look at the solids, some characteristics, their uses, the liquids, and the what? And the gases. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Very simple, but sit back and understand it before we continue. And make sure you have subscribed so you get more. We are going to load you with what? With information so you understand and appreciate what? Science. And then you become a scientist. You get the point I'm making here. Very important. Once again, thank you for joining the class. Appreciate it that you do this. Always keep watching. We are going to give you great content. Thank you very much.